Welcome the Business Center launch event and our session about what is new related with new Danish Bookkeeping Act and Business Center, where my colleague Alexander and I will try to explain all those details. I will start first with a short introduction and continue with what we already have inside the Business Center from all those requirements, as this is something we didn't change at all. But after that, I will continue with new planned features. As I said, some of them are already finished, so my colleague Alexander will show some of them. Okay, from 2022, when this new law was approved, we were active investigating what to do and how to adjust Business Center related with these requirements. Even the guidelines are not so clear in many situations. We are dedicated to certify our solution against new Danish Bookkeeping Act. What is important to know? Microsoft will register Business Central cloud version in the first wave, and solution will be certified as a standard solution as is. This is what Microsoft delivers without customizations. Now I will go more in details to explain the process and what we did, as well as what we are still doing. Okay, first thing first. As I already mentioned, Microsoft is committed to provide full compliance to all our customers globally, so this is applicable for Danish customers as well. Cloud option has an absolute advantage as there are not so many limitations there. Because of the following this guiding star, we are started early with designing and redesigning our solution. And what is important here? Every time we saw some required feature can be applicable for other countries, we decided to deliver this as a global feature, adding only local Danish flavor. But for all other changes, even they are fully local, they will be delivered as extensions without changing W1 base for Danish market. In this moment, we are closing the most of requirements, and some of them are already finished, but some of them are close to be done. Let's first see what we already have inside the Business Central, not everything, but what is required with Danish Bookkeeping Act and what we already have inside the Business Central without any customization. The standard digital bookkeeping system must contain fields for company to provide information on the following matters when record each individual transaction. This is related with transaction date, amount, receipt number, transaction text, exchange rate, and conversion factor for or currencies not in a local currency, not in the Danish crown. And when you look in Business Central, all transactions entered in Business Central contain already transaction date, amount, document number, description, the transaction text, and all entries in general ledger transactions are stored in exclusively in a local currency. If original document has currency other than Danish crown, this information exists in sub-ledger connected with general ledger entry. For example, customer ledger entry, vendor ledger entry, and so. Then we need to provide a full audit trail for recorded transactions. What it means, system assigns the following: registration date for each recorded transaction, consecutive transaction number or ID for each recorded transaction, initial or similar to the person who has recorded transaction. System also save changes to recording. What does it mean? That incorrect entries in the system must be corrected with the new entries. And recorded transaction cannot be changed, backdated, or deleted. And of course, in a Business Central, an audit trail record is created for every transaction. Everything is in general ledger register. Upon posting this register, they already have created date and even creation time together with user ID as a person who recorded the transaction. For each audit trail record register, you can also find a view number column with specific system created number of general ledger register. And of course, you cannot delete any entries. You cannot change date. This is already inside. So if you want to make some correction, you need to create new entry as a corrected entries here. What else? We need to provide bank reconciliation. In the first part, you can see we need to provide minimum one of the options. And Business Central provides the solution that means this requirement of digital standard bookkeeping system, where we need to support possibility of reconciling the company bookkeeping with a company bank account. It supports advanced bank reconciliation, allowing you to import electronic bank statements in various formats, including CSV, what is mandatory, and automatically reconcile them with the bank transaction in the system. This is first requirement, and this is one of three mandatory. What is else required? There are additional requirements that each bank account is linked to an account in a chart of account through assigned bank account posting group. This is already in a Business Central, so reconciliation exists for payment and bank accounts, and there is already a clear difference in the bank accounts ledger entry for reconcile and not reconcile entries. Now, it was short in what we already had and what we already have in the system. Now, let's make a look in new planned features. All new planned features are part of 2023 release wave 2, but they will not, all of them will be available in October. They will be finished in next minors and ready for the beginning new calendar year. So we will certify everything on time and you can start using them from the beginning of next year. What first? Mandatory digital vouchers. This is now new global feature. We decided to create this as a global feature. In all other countries, it can be voluntarily used, but it will be enforcing in Denmark. There will be mandatory setup for purchase and sales documents, but you can set up additional entries as you want to use. There are different entry types you can choose to set up, such as sales document, purchase document, different type of journals, and what it means. In Denmark, you will be by default enforced to attach purchase document before posting it. You cannot post document if you don't attach a scan or document or PDF or some kind of purchase document related with your purchase invoice or purchase credit memo. And in the sales, system will automatically create sales documents and attach it because you don't need to create something manually. It will be full automation. System will create PDF from your sales invoice or your sales credit memo, whatever, and automatically attach to your transaction. More about this feature, you can see in separate session about mandatory digital vouchers, and I will encourage you to go to watch this session. It will be important for you. Now, SFT. SFT module is created on the top of our audit file export app. It contains not only SFT export, but much more. Part of this package are Danish public standard chart of account and public standard VAT chart of account. So when you run it, you will automatically get standard chart of account, and your obligation is only to map this public standard chart of account with your existing chart of account in the system. Eventually, you can choose to set up Danish standard chart of account as your main primary chart of account in the system if you want, but this is not mandatory. You can use any type chart of account as your primary, and you just need to map it with a public standard chart of account. Then there is an SFT file export as required by the local authorities, and we use the same module for export bookkeeping data to a Regenscap basis as a CSV file. So the same module will export both of these SFT and CSV file. You can just choose which file you want to export and how to configure them. And now my colleague Alexander will show you how you can use it in a practice.
Thank you, Alexander. First of all, to start using SAFT export, you need to map your existing chart of accounts to the standard chart of accounts. To do this, you open JL account mapping page. I already created a new document here. And then on the left side of the table part, we see the list of existing JL accounts. And for each of them, we need to map them to the standard chart of accounts. This is a list that was pre-approved by Danish tax authorities. And after we're done with this, we go to VAT posting setup for SAFT. And here we need to set the 3 fields. Starting date, it's the date from which the VAT posting setup is valid. And we also need to set the sales and purchase what reporting codes. These are filled from the list of VAT reporting codes that are also predefined by Danish tax authorities. And then we proceed with the export. So we go to audit documents. We create a new one. The export format is set automatically. And we select the GL account mapping that we created before. If necessary, we can adjust starting and ending date of the period in which the data will be collected. And then if you want to collect our data in the background, we can turn the parallel processing option. But in our case, we don't need them. So we start export. And after it's done, download a zip archive with the XML files inside. And these files contain our data in the SAFT format.
Thank you, Sasha. Now I want to show more requirements. Now a little bit more about name handle notification and registration. If the company is not registered with name handle registered, a notification about that will appear on the top screen together with instruction how to register there. This is mandatory requirement with this new Bookkeeping Act. And now if the company is registered already in name handle, Business Central will check if CVR number in the company information page exists as registered in a name handle. And if it exists, the message will not appear. Actually, it will just disappear if previously existed. And this company will be marked as a registered in name handle. How does it work? Business Central is using the API call to verify the provided CVR number. CVR number is actually a registered number in the company information. And if this number page exists in the legal entity, it registered in name handle. Now, we will show this again as a demo. So Alexander will show how it looks like in the practice. Sasha, can you continue?
Thank you, Alexander. When we log into our Business Central tenant, we see a notification that the company is not registered in the name handle service. To register our company, we open the link in the notification, we click on it, we accept customer consent, and the website for name handle service is opened. And here we register our company with its CVR number. And after we're done with the registration, we return to the Business Central, we open company information page, and we set the company's CVR number into the registration no field. And after the field is set, the notification disappears.
Thank you, Sasha. As you can see, this is not so complicated part, but this is mandatory, this is required. And one more thing, if you do not register your company name handle, you will not be in a situation to use invoicing because this is mandatory. So you must first register, you must have all this information there so you can continue with invoicing. And when we are with invoicing, more feature, this time again, name handle and invoicing, just natural continuation. What about that? Invoicing in Denmark will be based on e-documents core module for our global market. This is what we are delivering for all countries. And on the top of this module, user can choose a local formats OUBL and PayPal BIS3. And this additional app will also have connectors to the third-party access points for documents and message exchange with a name handle. That means it will be localization on top of our e-document core. And I suggest to look at an independent session how invoicing works so you can get a clue about completing process. As it will be very similar, there will not be such a big difference in Denmark. Then it is also a requirement that new registered standard bookkeeping software must support the reporting of VAT via Danish Tax Agency VAT API. That means Business Central will support VAT e-submission in Denmark through defined APIs. This app is still work in progress and it will be finished soon, so it will be ready for the beginning of usage of new Bookkeeping Act and certification process. And now about storage of transactions in digital vouchers for 5 years. This is probably one of the most controversial requirements, but this is one of definitely must to deliver. This is definitely an obligation, we must deliver it. That means our system, our standard bookkeeping system as a business central must support the storage of recorded bookkeeping transactions in digital vouchers for 5 years. And this data must be not changed, backdated, or deleted by user or administrator. This also means customer cannot delete production company once it is registered. And even if customer delete whole environment, Microsoft must still keep all those data and provide them to authorities if required. This is the law. If customer is active on our subscription, all those data exist in a database and customer can provide them to authorities without any problem. But we as a software providers have an obligation to keep these data for 5 years, even if customer go to bankruptcy or stop paying subscription or and change the ERP software or try to delete and hide the data. On the other side, based on GDPR requirements, we cannot keep more than required, so all data kept by Microsoft after 5 years will be deleted. It is important to explain we will not delete your data in your database. This is not something Microsoft will do it, and only what we are talking, we will delete all data related to the forced transaction and vouchers backups. That means something what Microsoft must keep for authorities. We will keep only for 5 years after your last fiscal year, and every time, and this is older than 5 years, we will remove this data, keeping GDPR standards. This solution will be automatically set up, and this is still work in progress. We are finishing these procedures, but it will be on a time, as I said, for certification of product. Before we close this session, I would like to invite you to watch all sessions, because if I'm not wrong, 35 sessions are really great new functionalities, but minimum what is really connected with Danish Bookkeeping Act. This is a session about using of enforced digital vouchers, then introduction to invoicing, and what is new legislation localization. Definitely, I would recommend to watch this session. It will be important for all Danish companies, for other companies as well, but especially for Danish companies. Yes, you have few links, very important for Business Central. If you cannot remember all of them, try not to forget aka MS BC All, because you can find all important links there. So definitely try to not to forget this link. And yes, I would like to say thank you. I hope we demystify all details related with new Danish Bookkeeping Act and clarify some details. I hope, but definitely probably some new questions will appear, and I'm inviting you to log in for our Q&A session, where Sasha and I will try to explain all details about maybe some missing topics. So it will be, yes, October 11th, so please join the Q&A session, and we will try to clarify and explain all the details. One more time, thank you in my and Sasha's name.